The clock is ticking. We're now less than 24 hours away from the deadline set for Hamas to release all of the hostages being held in Gaza, or else. President Trump saying if they aren't set free, and I'm quoting now, all hell is going to break out. Earlier this week, the Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal was in jeopardy after Hamas accused Israel of breaking the terms of that deal. Then Hamas threatened to stop releasing hostages altogether. But after Trump's threat, they changed their tune. The terrorist group now says that they will release 3 hostages tomorrow, including 1 American. But all of this back and forth has hostage families really on pins and needles, wondering if and when their loved ones will be released. In fact, Daniel Lifshitz, who joins us now, his grandparents were captured by Hamas back on October 7th, and his 84-year-old grandfather, Oded, is still being held right now. Daniel, your grandfather is not one of the names on the list to be released tomorrow. How soon do you think he'll be released, and how concerned are you about this ceasefire deal possibly falling apart?
So, we are dealing with a terror organization, which is bringing me to be afraid that each time it can fall every day. I'm very happy that President Trump's statements has helped to make sure that the release will continue as agreed. And 3 of my friends released Sagidek Elchen, which I grew up with him, and Sasche Trufanov, who was my neighbor in the kibbutz, and Yair Horn is one of my mother best friends. So I'm so happy to see them tomorrow. I'm so glad it's an unimaginable day, and I'm so thankful to President Trump's statement and to the pressure which Sheikh Mohammed, the Prime Minister of Qatar, have done this week to do so. I'm worried to not see my grandfather for sure, and I don't know when he will come. As you see, it's a roulette. We'd never know who's coming every Saturday, and I just hope he'll be back soon.
Where were your grandfather and your grandmother when they were captured?
They were in Kibbutz Nir Oz. They were the western house of Kibbutz Nir Oz, which is just a mile in front of Khir Bet Chza, which is a village just before Khan Yunis. They were from the first one to be kidnapped. 5 terrorists breached their home, shot 5 bullets in the bomb shelter door. My grandfather got injured. The terrorists have dragged both of them at home. They rolled my grandma in a carpet and put her on a motorbike on her stomach. And when she looked back, the last scene was my grandfather on the floor. He was unconscious and bleeding because he was shot and he had blood pressure issues. She was taken directly around 8:30 a.m. She was already in Gaza on October 7th.
Did she see him at all since October 7th, when they were both in the Hamas custody?
No, so her last scene of him was on October 7th there in their amazing cactus garden that they founded with the kibbutz 64 years ago. You can see it in the pictures. I'm taking care of it now, waiting for his return to see that his life mission, the kibbutz and the cactus garden, are being taken care of. So she haven't seen him. She thought he was murdered, actually. But then when she was released, she told us that was the last scene, and he's murdered. But then in the first agreement, 2 hostages, women hostages that had been released, told us that they saw him there. One of them, she saw him on inside a storage of fruits and vegetables. He was on the table, unconscious, conscious and bleeding. They took the bullet, the Jihad Islamic terrorist took the bullet out of his hand. And another hostage told us that she'd been with him in an apartment in Khan Yunis for 25 days. Then he felt bad. 2 terrorists took him. And then we have no information about what happened to him since then. So actually, since November 23, we don't know his condition. He's the only great-grandfather held hostage in the world, an 84-year-old man. So you can imagine how worried we are about his situation. And he is on the first phase list, but it doesn't mean that he will be back. And it doesn't mean that he will be back alive. And that's where we stand.
What is that like? The unknown.
Today I can tell you that I woke up with the most amazing feeling. I made 6 alarms. I woke up for 6 alarms during the night, each one to see if the list has been published. But when I saw the list, those people, my grandfather would be much more happy to see them than to see himself, because they are young and all their life is in front of them. Sagide Kilchen, which actually is the one who taught us to play baseball in Kibbutz Nir Oz, because he played in the juniors of the Red Sox when he was young, when they lived in Boston. So my grandfather would be so happy to see that he's back to his wife, the 3 children, Shachar Mazal, the daughter he haven't seen yet. And but to be in the position of uncertainty and not knowing what's going on with your beloved one is the worst of the feeling. It's like a roller coaster, the most fearless roller coaster in Six Flags, that you just can't go out of it. You just continue and continue and continue.
Wow.
These are the feelings that we are feeling.
It's so hard to hear. How is your grandmother, and what are her fears?
My grandma's fears were that no hostages will be released. She was completely desperated. She was so happy 2 weeks ago when our Bel Yehud was released. She was like a granddaughter for her. We still have 23 hostages from Kibbutz Nir Oz, which are all family for her. So her recovery process is also a direct connection to the release of the hostages. So our Bel was a big stone that went out of her heart, and it's one of the healing process for her. And now when we see Sagi and Sasche and Yair coming back, she feels Sagi is like a grandson for her as well, because we grew up together for 16 years. Basically, she's feeling good. She recovered. You know, I feel that they survived, because when I saw my grandmother coming back, she didn't have her problems. You know, her body went into a survival mode. So usually she was shaky. And then when she came back after 17 days, even that she lost 22 pounds in 17 days,
wow,
and she was so tiny, she didn't have her problems. She was steady. She didn't need to sleep with oxygen. So our bodies are strong like a cactus, you know, the resilience of the cactus. And that's why I have the cactus here as well, for my cactus garden and for the resilience of the hostages. But they don't have much more time, as we saw last Saturday with the Holocaust scene of the 3 hostages that came back.
My final question is, if your grandfather was watching, what would you say to him?
I'll tell him that I love him. I'll tell him that I know that he wants all the young ones to go out first, and we are doing whatever we can to take him out. I'll tell him that we will continue his legacy of, he's a warrior of peace. I feel like President Trump is as well a warrior of peace, because we are really fighting for peace, because they know that the roots of peace are so strong. And my grandfather should know that we will continue to fight for him. If he's listening to me, I'm here. I know that he feels that I'm continuing his way, and I can promise him that no matter what, if he'll be back or not, I will do so, and he can be proud of all of us.
Well said, Daniel. Please know that we are praying for you and your family and the hostages that are still under Hamas captivity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.